What's up guys, it's Tom here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video. And Liverpool are in talks to sign Hugo Ekitike, the Frankfurt striker. Liverpool have been linked with loads of different strikers around Europe, and it's justified because both Darwin Núñez and Diogo Jota had pretty bad seasons to their own high standards. And also Mo Salah was responsible for around 35% of Liverpool's Premier League goals. He scored 28 goals so far out of like 80 plus goals that Liverpool scored in the Premier League. But if you include his assists, then Mo Salah is responsible for around 60% of Liverpool's goals, which is really frightening. So Ekitike is definitely on Liverpool's shortlist because Liverpool want to sign a striker who can share the goal burden with Mo Salah. So let me know who would be your choice of a striker. Alexander Isak costs around 130 million pounds, so he would be a brutally expensive striker. My choice would be Victor Osimhen because he's the best value for money striker and he also fits into Arne Slot's playing style. But Liverpool are definitely interested in Hugo Ekitike. That was confirmed by reliable German Bundesliga journalist Christian Falk, who actually reported Thiago going to Liverpool first, and he exclusively informed Code Offside that Frankfurt bosses already assume and think that Ekitike will be leaving in the summer. There is hope with the club only one win away from qualifying for Champions League football, and the additional Champions League revenue could be as high as 50 million euros, and with that amount of money Frankfurt can budget for the future season, and it would be possible challenging for Ekitike to stay. The price tag is very high, 85 million pounds. I don't think anybody would pay that for Ekitike, but the internal talk at Frankfurt is that the striker should stay until he receives an offer from Real Madrid, which is like brutally high ambitions. I respect that, but I don't think Ekitike is anywhere near that level. If Frankfurt do make it into the Champions League, the player would only be interested in a club that also plays in the Champions League. That rules out a few English clubs, but Arsenal are looking at Ekitike. And Liverpool have a big Darwin Núñez problem. He will be likely sold in the summer transfer window. And Liverpool would need a striker who can get around 15 to 20 goals a season, plus around 5 to 10 assists. So that's not like an insane number of goals. It's not Mbappe or Salah or Erling Haaland level of a striker. Ekitike though would be a project player because he's still not the finished article, and as you can see Mo Salah has 56 goal contributions in all competitions, so he's scoring or assisting every 74 minutes, which is absolutely insane. And Ekitike is on the same level as Cody Gakpo. He's scoring or assisting every 105 minutes. He has 32 goal contributions in all competitions. Cody Gakpo has 23 and Darwin Núñez only 14. So he is scoring or assisting every 137 minutes. What's staggering is Diogo Jota gets a goal contribution every 151 minutes. So Jota is even worse than Darwin Núñez when it comes to minutes to goal contributions ratio. Of course, Alexander Isak is the dream transfer. He gets a goal contribution once every 95 minutes, so basically once every game. But he would cost an incredible amount of money, and he also is injury prone. So Ekitike is a lot more raw in comparison to somebody like Alexander Isak, but he will be a safer bet. Signing Ekitike for 70 million is a much better value for money signing than signing Alexander Isak for 120 million. But you could argue if you could get 70 million for Darwin Núñez, then it's worth paying 50 million plus Darwin Núñez for Alexander Isak if you look at it that way. Louis Steele, who is a very reliable journalist, also said that at striker it's obvious that Liverpool want a striker, and as we have reported in the past, Hugo Ekitike of Eintracht Frankfurt is the one to watch. I would rule out Matheus Cunha. He's in advanced negotiations with Manchester United. Liam Delap, who is getting relegated with Ipswich, he's not Liverpool level striker. Victor Osimhen has been linked, but Louis Steele said, I've not heard anything on that one yet. That doesn't mean Liverpool are not interested. It means that just Liverpool are very quiet with the transfer negotiations. Delap is available for just 30 million. That, for value for money, that's a decent price. but I would only sign Dilep and Ekitike, so I would only sign true strikers if both Nunez and Jota left. But I think maybe Diogo Jota deserves another season because he just had a terrible second half of the season. His first half of the season was actually pretty decent. And Jeremy Frimpong has been linked several times. He will be on the move. The noises are that the left back position is seen as a bigger priority. So Liverpool are not in active discussions to sign Frimpong at this stage, but this news came before Trent Alexander announced that he is leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. So now I'm sure Liverpool will be active in searching for a right back. And Liverpool's stance around Darwin Núñez hasn't changed. We want to sell him. We are looking to sign a big name striker. Victor Osimhen is an option that was revealed as well, and James Pearce confirmed Liverpool's interest in Ekitike. He also mentioned Benjamin Sesko as a name that the club are looking at. Both fit the profile of Liverpool's recruitment strategy. They are both young, fast, tall, versatile, and also they can finish, they can score, they can get assists, so they are good in link-up play, and they are young players. They have also proven themselves in a top league in the Bundesliga. So let's actually compare them. Ekitike is 22 years old, Sesko is 1 year younger. Ekitike is 191 centimeters tall, Sesko is a little bit taller, 195. So nothing separates them in terms of their basic profiles. Ekitike has a lot more to offer. He's a bigger goal threat. He's averaging 0.8 expected goals per 90 minutes. Sesko just averages 0.38. That's a huge difference. Wow, I didn't know that. Sesko gets less than half of expected goals than Ekitike. And of course, Ekitike is having a great season at Frankfurt. He thrives at finding space inside the box and getting himself in goal-scoring opportunities. So he's a much more rounded profile with brilliant all-round skills. And he also has very clean technical ability compared to Sesko, who is still very raw, and he needs more work on his overall involvement, his passing and ball distribution. Also, Ekitike averages 0.24 expected assisted goals per 90 minutes, Sesko only 0.08. So I think we can safely rule out Sesko because Liverpool's data analysis team will see these numbers and think Ekitike is a much better option. Shot creating actions 3.7 for Ekitike, Sesko is 1.9. So again, huge difference. And Arne needs a forward who can not only score but who can also link up with teammates and create chances, get assists as well as scoring goals. So Ekitike is a much better all-round footballer than Benjamin Sesko. Ekitike is tactically, positionally more flexible. He is comfortable drifting out wide, drawing defenders away to create space for his teammates. He also averages 3.4 progressive carries per 90 minutes in comparison to Sesko's 1.7. Ekitike also averages 4.3 take-ons as opposed to Sesko's 2.9 take-ons per 90 minutes. And Ekitike provides more work off the ball, making 0.2 tackles per 90 minutes in the opposition's final third, which is more than Benjamin Sesko's 0.1. Ekitike also averages 3.1 recoveries per 90 minutes, Sesko only 2.3. So they are both very quick. Ekitike has a top speed of 35.5 kilometers per hour, Sesko 35.3, so not much of a difference that way. And with the fact that Liverpool will be probably priced out of signing Alexander Isak because Newcastle are talking about 150 million pounds, they basically just don't want to sell Isak. That's why they are giving these ludicrous high numbers. And so the Frankfurt board member said that he's realistic about Ekitike. Axel Hellmann, a former CEO and now he's a board member at Frankfurt, he knows that his desire to see Ekitike play for Frankfurt is very unlikely to become a reality. The CEO said, the Frankfurt director said, I would love to have Ekitike at Frankfurt for another 10 years if possible, but we are realistic. He's one of the best high potential players in Europe at the moment. He's only 22 years old. That means he has a great future. He's a clever guy. He loves to listen and learn. I would love him to stay another couple of years. But the market is the market, and half of the Premier League clubs are interested in signing him. And he said that besides the Premier League, there are other markets for Ekitike that he has opened doors to with his performances. I think he would also fit in other leagues and with big clubs in Southern Europe, so in Italy and Spain. And Jamie Carragher urged Liverpool to buy Ekitike. And Jamie Carragher said about Kerkez that we've got to remember Richard Hughes came from Bournemouth. He bought Kerkez to Bournemouth, the left back, who has been fantastic. So he obviously likes him. He must have a relationship with the player and his agent. So that one, I look at that and I think it probably makes sense. I mean, the striker everyone would love is Ishak. I don't think we are in a position where Liverpool, there is an absolutely great centre forwards all across Europe and you can take your pick. Do I think Liverpool could buy Ishak? I don't know. I don't know if Liverpool would want to pay that type of money for just one player. I don't think that's the model. I think the model is we will get the next Ishak. I don't think they will absolutely break the bank. There is the lad at Eintracht Frankfurt who scored against Tottenham in the Europa League, Ekitike. That smacks to me the type of player Liverpool would sign. And I fully agree with Jamie Carragher. This is the Liverpool transfer strategy. We want to sign the next player who could become Alexander Isak, and Ekitike, even at 70-75 million, would be pretty expensive, but a lot cheaper than Alexander Isak. And here you can see that Ekitike is ranking third in goals and assists combined for players who are 23 years old or younger. Lamine Yamal is having an absolutely amazing season, but Barcola, Olise, Cherki and Florian Wirtz are all having great seasons, and Ekitike actually stands out of these players as maybe an affordable option. Ryan Cherki would be the most affordable, he would be the cheapest, but he's playing in the French league that's not as strong as the Bundesliga. And he joined Frankfurt for just 16.5 million euros. That's insanely cheap. One of the bargains of the season ever since, and he has 11 goals and 4 assists in 28 games for Reims, and then he moved on to Frankfurt, and Ekitike's goals and assists certainly speak for themselves. And Ekitike struck a brilliant partnership with Omar Marmoush. They were an absolute joy to watch for Frankfurt in the first half of the season until Marmoush joined Manchester City. So like Salah, Marmoush was a pacey winger who loved to cut inside from the wing, and Ekitike is a more traditional number 9. Marmoush scored 20 goals and got 14 assists in just 26 games for Frankfurt before moving to Man City for £75 million. And since Marmoush left, credit to Ekitike, he has been as impressive as with Marmoush, because his goals didn't really diminish that much. He gets around the same amount of goals and assists, just slightly lower without Marmoush than with Marmoush. So that's actually very good. So with Marmoush he got 0.85 goals and assists per 90 minutes, and without Marmoush he's getting 0.8. So very, very similar, and that should be music to Arne Slot's ears. And he's playing in a front two or as a lone striker in a 4-3-3 formation. And Robbie Fowler gave a very interesting interview discussing his desire about getting back to coaching. He said, I do want to get back into the game as soon as possible. As a coach or a manager, I feel as though I've got a lot to give on that front, but the sporting director and technical side of the game is just an avenue that I could lean towards in the future. And Robbie Fowler discussed Liverpool's squad planning for next season. It's a difficult one because as a supporter, you want them to sign every player under the sun. If you're not signing players, you risk potentially going backwards. Maybe Nunez will be a name on a few teams' lists because he hasn't played the amount of games he would want to, and you assume Liverpool will try to bring in a number 9. The problem is clubs know that they are potentially on the lookout for a number 9, so the prices will become silly. If you look at Ishak, he's going to be £100 million plus easily. He's a wonderful player, but Liverpool may not want to pay that, so they will look around. If you could look at Ollie Watkins, he doesn't really fit the model in terms of what Liverpool want, given his age. He's 29 years old, but I would go and get him for a couple of years because he's a tremendous player and established and experienced in the Premier League. The problem is Aston Villa wouldn't want to sell their main striker on the cheap. Arsenal tried with 40 million and Aston Villa wanted 60 million. Now 60 million for a 29-30 year old striker, it's not good value for money. you maybe get a good 2 or 3 years out of him, and then you lose your own investment. If you pay like 60 to 80 million for Ekitike, let's say 80 million, just for the sake of this argument, if you pay 80 million for Ekitike, you get him for 5 years, and even after 5 years, after a contract extension, you want to sell him, you could basically get back your whole investment, or maybe even sell him for a bigger price. So that's, I think, a much better strategy. Arne also shared how Ryan Gravenberch became Liverpool's star defensive midfielder. I asked Ryan Gravenberch if he could come back a bit earlier than he actually did, because we had a few games in America to play. I was really curious how he would do in that position, in the number 6 position. When we came back from America, there was only 2 games left on the same day, so there wasn't a lot of time for me to try something out. I spoke to most players in their summer break, and one of the things Alexis McAllister said to me, and I also felt the same, was that he has no problem playing as a defensive midfielder, but he prefers to play with a 6 behind him. I think that gets the best out of him. That's also why we were interested in signing a number 6, but Ryan did come back 1 or 2 days earlier, and that way he could play in the Manchester United game in that position, and I immediately liked it, because he was so comfortable on the ball. He has all the ingredients to play really well in that position. Perhaps what he could add to his game is maybe 1 or 2 touch play and find even more players in between the lines, but that will come with age and experience as Ryan Gravenberch gets better. And actually it worked out fine that Liverpool didn't sign a number 6, a defensive midfielder. But we need somebody who can cover for Ryan Gravenberch. Endo is not on the same level, but it's very difficult, because you need to spend a huge amount of money to sign a player who is on the same level as Ryan Gravenberch. And would he play regularly? I'm not sure. Let me know your thoughts down below on everything that we discussed in this video, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.